12 runs short is what India were at the end, and they've ended what is was an impressive T20I series winning streak. That is their only defeat in the year 2020 in the shortest format in international cricket. Australia salvage a win. The series still goes to India, so 2-1 to Australia in the ODIs, 2-1 to India in the T20Is. We look back at that third T20I on ESPN Cricket for Match Day with Tom Moody and Gautam Gambhir. A few lusty blows towards the end, perhaps fittingly a drop catch to close out this white ball leg of the series, Tom Moody. And Australia, you'd say the better side on the day.
Yeah, look, absolutely. It's the first time look the better side in this T20 tournament. It appeared to be a good score because it looked like in the second innings, batting wasn't as easy as it has been in Sydney over the past couple of weeks. We've seen some very good batting surfaces in Sydney over the last few weeks in the ODIs and in the T20s. But I think this one, it just sort of held in the surface a little bit. So it made sort of chasing down a formidable total a difficult task. But still, India gave it a good sort of rattle. If it wasn't for Zampa getting out Hardik Pandya, it may have been a different result again.
Yeah, we'll heap praise on Australia's spinners in just a bit. But the point you made, Gautam, at halftime, that 180, 190, these scores don't get chased every day. They don't even get chased 2 games in a row. You felt like India had a chance. Their best chance was well set Kohli and Hardik Pandya. But these tall scores don't always get chased.
Well, absolutely, because you're always under pressure. 1 or 2 good overs, and then suddenly you're chasing, 12 runs per over. And look, how good was Swepson? Getting 3 wickets in his 4 overs for 23? And then I've never seen Steve Smith drop that kind of a catch in my life, to be honest. I think, and it was a very bold move, especially from Aaron Finch to start off with Glenn Maxwell. It did work in the first over. It probably would have sealed the game had Steve Smith taken that catch of Virat Kohli. That game would have been over there and then. Virat Kohli was the one who kept India in that game. But then again, I think it was a bold move, especially when you're playing 6 bowlers and you've got 2 leg spinners starting off with an off spinner. So it was a very, very good decision.
Yeah, in the end, I guess let's just go straight to the takeaways from this T20I series, and quite a few of them will overlap with the talking points of this game itself. And Tom, if we are to start with Australia, Mitchell Swepson, who was a bit of a surprise selection in the first game, Ashton Agar with an injury, but he's put in a shift in every game, and he's ended the T20I series on a high, 3 for 23.
Yeah, look, he did exceptionally well. There's no question there. He had a shaky start to his T20 campaign where he dragged the ball down, very short in that first match in Canberra. But he just grew in confidence and strength to strength. It certainly was no surprise to people here in Australia that he got picked because his form has been good. And they see him as potentially the second spinner now behind Nathan Lyon. Zampa's obviously the number. If you have the conditions that suit spin bowling and Test cricket, expect to see Mitchell Swepson play.
You like what you see of him, Gautam? Could be a real contender to make Australia's 15-man squad as he continues to build in T20 cricket. He has the tools to be an effective T20 wrist spinner.
See, it's a great thing to have 2 wrist spinners playing in the same game. And you want those options. Look at what they both did today. When you've got 8 overs of wrist spin, you're always in the game. Even if the opposition requires 8 or 9 runs per over, you know that we've got the wicket-taking options. And going forward, when you know that the World Cup is in India, and if it's a dry wicket, you actually can play 2 wrist spinners as well. And plus, you've got Ashton Agar as well. So if Marcus Stoinis, Ashton Agar, and then you've got Pat Cummins and 2 wrist spinners plus 1 more seamer play, you've got 3 spinners. New Zealand has gone with those kind of 3 spin options as well. So having another wrist spinner is always a great luxury. And he's not only bowled well in this game, he bowled brilliantly in the previous game as well. Looked probably as good as Adam Zampa. Zampa probably bowled difficult overs. He bowled in the death as well. He bowled in the first 6 overs, but Swepson was very, very impressive.
Yeah, Zampa continues to not take his eye off the ball either, in spite of the second leg spinner, Tom. Bowls the tough overs, including an over to Hardik Pandya and a set Virat Kohli, and effectively sealed the game there. And he continues to be this bowler who doesn't mind bowling the hard overs.
Yeah, look, again, you've got to praise the captain as well, Aaron Finch, for that move in backing Zampa at that stage. I thought it was a good bit of leadership. Zampa thrives with that type of pressure. He's established play cricket. He's been around the IPL for a number of years now, so He understands what pressure's about, and he embraces that pressure, and he welcomes it. Yeah, look, there's no doubt that was a key over, and to get Pandya out there, that to me was, whilst Pandya was still there, India were very much within shooting distance of that total, because we know that the way this game is played now with T20 cricket, players like Pandya, for him to hit 3 sixes and over, that's not a difficult thing to do. He can do it, and he can do it not only just for one over, he can do it 2 in a row.
Right. While we continue discussing Australia's takeaways from this T20I series, Tom Swepson and the fact that Zampa and Swepson look good and look potent bowling together, what else is the takeaways from this series for Australia? I'm guessing Matthew Wade's form is certainly one of them. What else have you got to know from this series that we didn't know earlier?
Well, I think one of the things is that Moses Henriques has come back as a genuine contender in this format of the game. He's been in isolation, if I could put it that way, for a period of time. But what he gives you is maturity, experience, and leadership. So, all those things are valuable assets to have in a squad. Whether that's in your final 11 or not, that then is determined on form and fit. Me as someone that certainly has shown that he has the capabilities to step up to the next couple of World Cups that are coming up in the T20 format. The other thing for me is that Australia have found out that the likes of Abbott and Sams have still got some work to go. From a point of view of being exposed at the real pointy end of the game. Against the very best in the world. So they'll take a lot from this experience, and they'll improve in the areas they need to improve. So when they do get their opportunity, they'll come back stronger. Matthew Wade, well, experience, you can't buy it in any format of the game. It just shows you again, you've got experience on your side and a bit of class. You can deliver. And Matthew Wade is an interesting story because he was a genuine wicketkeeper batsman, but over the last couple of years, he's evolved as a genuine batsman in all formats of the game.
Gautam, quick word on you on Australia's takeaways from what you've seen.
Yeah, I actually like the look of Daniel Sams. He's a brilliant fielder. He can actually be very handy with the bat. And then if he can start bowling better in the death overs, because he can swing the ball back in. And if he can actually develop that skill what Natarajan has, he's going to be a great asset, because you need a backup for people like Marcus Stoinis, or for that matter, Moses Henriques as well. He can actually bat at number 7. He can give you that bowling option as a left armer. So I actually like the look of him. And I really want to see him actually develop as a bowler, because he's got that ability to hit those big shots, what you're required at number 7. And you see what the kind of catches he's taken today. Looks a very good fielder as well. So if he can develop that skill, that he's got to be very useful going forward as well, because Australia need those options. Marcus Stoinis, Mitchell Marsh, then never always fit. Sometimes there is an injury concern. Moses Henriques, to be honest, is into his mid-30s as well. So I really want that they should persist with someone like Daniel Sams and keep giving him opportunities whenever they can. And then if he can keep developing him as a good death bowler, it'll be a great thing for Australia.
And let's talk about India's takeaways then, and cues nicely to Natarajan. As Gautam points out, we probably start with him. Gautam, as the find of the series has been T. Natarajan.
Yes, no doubt about it. And he's just shown the entire, probably everyone, that you don't need to be the most skillful bowler. You just need to do the basics right. And what you've done for years, and if you can actually develop that skill, especially in the death overs, you can be very, very handy in T20 format. You might not be that handy in one-day cricket, because in one-day cricket, you need different skills as well to try and get the batsman out with the new ball, or probably in the middle overs as well. But if you can actually develop one good skill, whether it's with the new ball to bring the ball back in, or in the death overs, you can be very successful and can play one format for a very long time. And especially, he's done nothing different to what he's done in IPL, so which show that he's got a great head on his shoulder.
What are the other major takeaways, though, Tom, for this Indian side from the T20I series? We're still looking at the likes of Shreyas Iyer, Sanju Samson, and thinking, are they the finished product for the T20I side? We got evidence of one game from Ravindra Jadeja. What are the takeaways from India other than Natarajan for you?
I think that Shikhar Dhawan's clearly made himself the front runner for that opening slot. If there's an issue with the combination of KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, I think they're obviously the first pick. But, there was probably going into this series a question mark who could possibly be that third person. Shikhar to me is clearly head and shoulders above the rest. The concern for me is the middle order for India. I still feel that needs some addressing. As I mentioned a couple of days ago, Pant for me is the answer as well, and I just think what he can do, very few can do. So I think time to invest in him is really important. Hardik Pandya is, launched himself as a world-class finisher, and that's not even including the fact that he can bowl when he's fit, but he's launched himself into that capability of being a world-class finisher, and they're very far and few between. They're the type of role that every team are desperately trying to seek and find. The very best in the world, you'd sort of say Andre Russell. Owen Morgan has emerged over recent years as being a brilliant finisher and having the right temperament. And I think what we've seen over the last couple of weeks here in Australia is Hardik Pandya has pushed himself up into that space.
See, Ronak, one more thing. I think I'm a little disappointed with someone like Sanju Samson, because you don't get those opportunities like what he's been getting. And if you see the previous dismissal and even today, these are soft dismissals. These were probably nothing short as well. Even today, it was a nothing short. That was not the wicket-taking delivery. And you've got someone like Virat Kohli batting at the other end. It's not like you're the senior partner. You got to be probably, you can at that moment, you could have just continued playing with Virat Kohli, continued to build that partnership. See, you can have so much of talent, as much talent as you want, but you need to have the right mindset as well. Because when you're playing for your country, you can't be that casual. Even in the previous game as well, he was batting at a strike rate of 130, 140. You wanted him to bat a little longer. So even that was a nothing shot. Even today, probably a full toss just pushed towards long on was a nothing shot. And when you're playing in front with Virat Kohli, you can actually keep discussing how to get those, get across the line, especially in the run chase as well. No one is better than Virat Kohli to finish off the games. It's not like he was batting with someone like Shreyas Iyer, and obviously there was pressure building. When you've got Virat Kohli, these are moments where you can learn so much. It's not only about learning from outside; it's about learning in the middle as well, where you've got probably one of the best or the best chase master batting alongside you. And then there is a soft dismissal like this when you know that obviously you're not certain in the playing 11. You're still trying to put yourself or probably get into the playing 11 on a consistent basis. And if you end up getting these kinds of getting out on these kind of dismissals, then it's only yourself to blame.
Yeah, he's got something rare, hasn't he, in this series, Tom? 3 games in a 3 T20I series always doesn't happen to reserve batsmen. Do you agree with Gautam? This is an opportunity wasted by Samson?
I 100% agree. There's a difference between reckless and smart, and I think Sanju Samson has been more on the reckless side and not read the game and been smart in the game and working through it. And I get the fact that he is one of the few players that has the ability to go from ball one, which is a great skill to have, but. I actually checked up just to confirm his age after today's dismissal, just to sort of see where he's at from a maturity point of view in the game. And he's 26 years old. He's not like he's been around a long time. He's been around IPL a long time. He's been in many different, cricketing, situations. So you need to learn, and you then need to put into practice some good habits. And to me, he's making habits, or he's making errors, let me put it that way. He's making errors that really you'd only expect from someone that hasn't got the experience that he's got.
See, for me, the most disappointing thing going with Sanju Samson was that he had opportunity in both the games, even today and in the previous game as well, that he was batting with Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
And what better than batting with Virat Kohli? And then you end up playing that kind of a shot. And in the previous game where you were 15 of 10 balls. So then again, if you don't get more opportunities going forward or limited opportunities going forward, you should only blame yourself as well. Because when you've got someone like Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma and you're batting alongside them, you can learn so much. So let's see what happens going forward, because there is a lot of people who are waiting in the wings. There's Manish Pandey, who's got a fabulous T20 record, and what Tom just mentioned, that he could be your answer in the middle order, especially batting at number 4. And now you've got obviously KL Rahul as your first choice wicket keeper. So going forward, let's see. Could be difficult times for someone like Sanju Samson. Hopefully, India persists with him.
Yep. I mean, Ravindra Jadeja's made a case for a batting position, perhaps one higher, if not more, whenever he's fit. So plenty of questions. Problem of plenty, you think, for India. As this T20I series has now come to an end, we've got mouth-watering prospect of 4 Test matches. In some cases, or at least if you're a purist in this sport, the real deal is the Test cricket, and it's coming up now. Let me just get quick words from Tom and Gotham. We won't have them regularly through the course of the Test series, but if, from the evidence of what we've seen in these limited overs games, there's not a lot of long form cricket or 3 day or 4 day cricket that teams play anymore, Tom. But which team looks like they've got bases covered? I think it's that sort of time where we have to go with white ball form and see whether you can look at India and say they've got a lot out of this white ball series to carry into the tests.
Well, it's interesting. Australia have got some real concerns that have emerged just over the last 24 hours.
Right.
And that is with the injuries continuing to mount on the possible prospects that can come in at that top order. David Warner is a big loss. Look, he hasn't been ruled out yet, but I'd be incredibly surprised if he's available for the first test and possibly even the second, given the extent of his injury. And show, very, very little form leading into the series, which is also a major concern. Will Pucovski, the young, exciting Victorian who's, set the first-class scene alight here for the last couple of years. He's an amazing prospect. Again, got hit in the head, and it's on the back of multiple concussions that he's already had. So there's concern for that as well. So, Australia's top orders looking a little bit sort of out of sync at the moment. Their bowling in Test cricket looks robust. Obviously, Nathan Lyon is the premier spinner in the tournament, in the Test series. And you've got some very good fast bowling options for us from Australian perspective. So I still favour Australia, particularly given that Virat Kohli is only available for one of the 4 Test matches. I feel that Australia have got their nose in front.
What about India? They don't have as many injury concerns, Gautam, but we know Ravindra Jadeja is likely to miss the first test at the very least. Fast bowlers seem to all be fit and available, which is good signs, but there's no Ishant Sharma, there's no Rohit Sharma for the first couple of tests. How are India looking after whatever you've seen in these 6 white ball games?
See, India's got a couple of issues as well. They've got probably the opening pair who's going to open the batting alongside Mayank Agarwal, and what kind of a form they would be in, and at the same time third seamer as well. Because in Australia, if you play with only 4 bowlers, your third seamer becomes very, very crucial. So, and India probably will go with 6 batters and a wicketkeeper and 4 bowlers. So, who's going to be your third seamer? Whether it's going to be Umesh Yadav or Navdeep Saini, we got to wait and watch. But again, your opening combination, whether Prithvi Shaw is in very good form, Mayank Agarwal, let's see how he goes in Australia, or whether it's got to be Shubman Gill. So India's got their own concerns as well. India's not a settled side. Once Virat Kohli leaves after the first test match, it's going to be even more difficult. Who's going to replace him? Because anyways, a lot will depend on someone like Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane. Ajinkya Rahane needs to step up. He didn't have the best of series in New Zealand. And then once Virat Kohli goes, obviously that middle order becomes very, very crucial. Whether Rahane comes and bats at number 4, he should be batting at number 4. I don't like him batting at number 5 once Virat Kohli goes. Yes, he would want to bat at number 5, but he should come at number 4 and probably KL Rahul at number 5 or Shubman Gill. Let's see. But then India's got their own problems as well. The third seamer is going to be a huge problem. What kind of a form he would be in, we got to wait and watch. Plus, obviously, Australia has got their own concerns, like what Tom mentioned, the opening pair. But Australia, from the bowling point of view, and I actually like the look of Cameron Green. If he can actually give you 10 or 12 overs in a day and can bat at number 6, looks a quality player. That will just help Australia. And if you see the depth in their batting, if James Pattinson plays or Nisa plays, they can actually bat at number 8 and 9. Pat Cummins can bat. India's going to have a longer tail with Shami, Bumrah, and Umesh or Navdeep Saini. So from that point of view, Australia looks little strong in the 4 test matches. Plus they've got Nathan Lyon as well, who's quality. But India, let's see, opening combination is going to be very, very important.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned Ajinkya Rahane. Perhaps if we just already get away to the conversation on the tests, the 3-day tour game also did see Rahane bat at 5. Vihari batted at 4 in both innings. He knows there's this big responsibility on him, Gautam, on having to captain the side for a large part of the series, 3 games after Virat Kohli leaves after the first test. What kind of challenge is this going to be for Ajinkya Rahane? We have seen a bit of his captaincy at the highest level. We have seen him captain in the IPL as well. But as Ajinkya Rahane, the captain or the leader, has a big role to play along with Ajinkya Rahane, the batsman, what's the challenge for him?
I think the first thing I would like to see from Rahane is to bat at number 4. If Vihari bats or KL Rahul plays or Shubman Gill plays, they should be batting at number 5, not Rahane. That is one way you send a signal saying that I'm going to ready to lead from the front. If you ask Shubman Gill to bat at number 4 or KL Rahul, that is probably a little negative. At the same time, I don't know what the surface is going to be in Adelaide, but going forward, Rahane should try and push for 5 bowlers with the kind of form Ravindra Jadeja is. He can easily bat at number 6. And then you've got Ashwin and 3 seamers. That will sort out a lot of things as well, because Australia is vulnerable. To be honest, if they don't get David Warner, and they've got Steve Smith and Labuschagne, and after that, if you see, they've got Travis Head, and then Matthew Wade, and then the wicketkeeper Tim Payne. So if India can actually try and squeeze in 5 bowlers with 2 quality spinners, it's going to be trouble times. Because it's not about, I've already mentioned this, it's not about getting 400 on the board. It's about actually trying to defend 300 as well. And that you can only do when you've got 5 bowlers. And plus, you've got to remember that you don't have Ishant Sharma, the experience of Ishant Sharma. And Umesh, we all know, can be very hot and cold. Navdeep Saini is on his first tour to Australia. So you might push for a 5 bowling option. And if India can actually look to do that, that is a huge, huge positive going forward and giving a signal that, yes, we're looking to win a test match or a test series in Australia.
I go back a few years in the decider in Dharamshala in India, Tom, in the test series, where Rahane was captain and made a brave call to play Kuldeep Yadav in his first test. Anil Kumble was, of course, coach back then. Seemed to be a lot going in from there. You think Rahane, the captain in test cricket, would need to make aggressive calls, like Gautam says, if India are to pull off what would be an incredible series win in the absence of Virat Kohli? Does he strike you as the kind of captain, the kind of leader that can carry a team through for a long test series, given, of course, like Gautam says, the slight concerns that he may be on his own form as a batsman?
Yeah, look, he's a high-quality person. We've learnt that over the years, or I've certainly learnt that over the years. He's also a high-quality player. From a captaincy point of view, he still obviously hasn't had the international exposure, but that's where, Ravi Shastri, the coach, and sort of fills those voids to gain some strength from a leadership perspective. To me, the coach's role is to support the captain, but also take pressure off the captain. Certain areas that all captains are a little bit vulnerable, and that's where you need to read what Rahane's vulnerabilities are and make sure that you're there to support that. So you're going hand in hand as a strong leadership team. So I think the management and senior players need to also step up. But I see Rahane, being able to fill the role successfully. And I think it's going to be a measure of aggression, but also just smart cricket as well. That's going to put India in a strong position. I don't think it's all about goats, because that it could potentially be a reckless approach. But I think Test cricket, as we know, slowly unfolds over time, and you just need to be smart at the right times.
All right. That is a wrap. Thank you very much to Tom Moody and Gautam Gambhir. Gautam, been an absolute pleasure having you on our network through the course of the IPL and leg of the series. I'm sure we'll get you very soon. So wish you season's greetings for the holiday season, and I'll see you again soon. Tom Moody, I can't seem to be getting enough of you. I'm going to see you for the Big Bash League Fantasy and maybe on a few days of the test as well. What's wrong with this? I can't get rid of Tom Moody.
You're a very lucky man.
And on that fine note, thank you to Tom Moody and Gautam Gambhir. Always good to have thoughts and analysis from these fine gentlemen. Like I said, Tom's going to be around with us as we give you Big Bash League fantasy updates. So catch that on our network, and we'll be very much alive and kicking before the start of this 4-match test series with that historic pink ball test for India overseas in Adelaide, which starts on the 17th. Do join us for ESPN Cricket for Match Day then as well. And remember, viewers in the Indian subcontinent can catch highlights, clips, and major action as it's happened through the course of this white ball leg of the tour, and as it will continue to through the course of the test series on ESPNcricinfo.com as well as the mobile app.